spotlight, Hollywood frights. Tough guys gonna fight, sometime love can bite. Car chases and sucking faces, starships battles with alien races. Make you laugh out loud, make you feel real proud. Animated delights and heroes in tights. Movies so plenty you can watch all night, and all of them gonna be in the spotlight.
It is that time again, kids. It is In the Spotlight, an attack of the spotlight. I'm John Horton, and I don't know why the fuck I'm talking like that. Whoa,
Whoa.
what happened to you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Arthur. Where the hell's my hat? I don't know what I did.
Fuck it, we're leaving this in. Go ahead.
We're fine. I'm Kyle Pierson, and welcome to our 408 total episode. We've already talked about our favorite movie soundtracks with lyrics. These are our favorite motion picture scores. We've got 4 apiece that we think of. It could be that we have a couple in common. We don't know yet. We have not revealed them to each other. John's going to tell us his first one, and then we'll move on to me. John, what is your number 4?
That would be, well, these aren't in any specific order.
Okay.
These are just 4. I'm not going to rank them. But
all right.
I've got to go horror movies to start with, and I'm going to go, this will surprise some people, because you would think when I say horror movie score, you would think John Carpenter would come out.
That was the first one I thought you would say.
Nope, not going to do it.
Wow.
Day of the Dead by John Harrison.
Really? Okay.
Day of the Dead is the 3rd movie in the trilogy from George Romero. Start off Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. I love this soundtrack. It's got some it really lends itself to shambling zombies. The shuffling walk of zombies. It's got the hopeful songs on there. It's just overall, it's a really good soundtrack, and it's a long one. I recently met within the last year, 2 years maybe, John Harrison at a convention, and got the Day of the Dead 2-disc edition.
Wow.
For a zombie flick, 2-disc. But it's a great soundtrack.
Very good. Very good.
This is going to be a short episode. We're going to have to derail ourselves a couple times on this one.
That's we're good at that. We'll figure it out. I actually already have something to derail us with as soon as we get finished with this. So one of your recommendations I watched last week, and we couldn't get through it.
What was it?
We'll talk about it at the end. Find out. Well, because it was one that you suggested. I'm like, it sounds like it's right up our alley. And we started watching it, and we're like, it's got to get better. And just didn't happen. So,
oh dear.
That'll be later on.
Okay.
For now, I've got Back to the Future Part 3.
Part 3.
That is my 4th favorite. The one thing I really have issues with on most soundtracks is you have a constant theme, maybe a couple of them, and those are just repeated over and over in every track. It's a different version, but it's the exact same song-ish. And it was really funny is listening to the James Bond, watching all the James Bonds back to back. It's funny how one, For Your Eyes Only, and we were talking about that with your mom, where they actually, whatever the theme song was for that movie, they had like 5 or 6 different versions of that song throughout the movie. They had, they have the James Bond theme, and then they take whatever, View to a Kill, that song you're going to hear over and over and over and over and over, and different, dun, 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 it's a lot slower, different instruments, that type of thing. So I already have a problem with soundtracks to begin with if I'm just listening to them in the car, because it's too repetitive. Back to the Future has one of the best theme songs in motion pictures, as far as I'm concerned. I love the driving dun dun dun. I love that song, and it is repeated throughout. The good thing about Back to the Future Part 3 is there is a different mix of it because you do have the Western version of it. You also have a Western version of Doubleback. The actual ZZ Top Doubleback is not on the soundtrack. On the soundtrack is the instrumental version that is inside of it. There was actually a concert in town for Back to the Future. They've had like 4 or 5 of these movies where they will strip away the music score, show the
Oh
movie
yeah,
with just the dialogue and special effects and sound effects, and then they have a huge orchestra performing the actual score. It is awesome.
yeah.
One of the movies they did was Back to the Future 1, but they knew that the song from the theme from the third one was so good that in the intermission between the two, they played that one. So we still got that song and that version, while even though we were watching the first film, we got to hear music from the third. So I really enjoy the soundtrack for 3 just because it is spiced up and altered enough dramatically because we also have a whole Western take on it as well. So of the 3 soundtracks, I'd prefer to listen to the score for Back to the Future Part 3. John, what's your next one?
Next one I have is not a horror flick. It is a classic action flick. Terminator 2.
Oh,
That is an amazing score. Not a lot of repetition in there. And I just listened to it recently. Everything is just so pulse pounding, action packed. The theme song, the dun 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 dun
dun, dun, dun,
dun 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 dun
dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
I mean, that just gets your blood pumping. That's tough guy shit, man. That movie would not be the same if they had any other soundtrack, I think.
You're right.
John Carpenter, at one time, during test screenings for Halloween, they released it without the music because it was a test screening. They had to have the music done. People hated it. He added in the music, instant hit. Well, not instant hit, but I mean, much different reaction. I think Terminator 2, if they had any other music, would have the same thing. It just would not be that good of a movie as what it is. Can't live without that soundtrack.
Yeah. There's an interesting thing because I mentioned in a previous episode about how John Hughes had written Dumb and Dumber and then sold it to the Farrelly brothers unfinished. In that same book, it talks about Ferris Bueller's Day Off because they have "Oh Yeah" in the soundtrack. Oh yeah,
Right.
which is so iconic. But
Yeah.
what was weird is that song had also just been in The Secret of My Success. When they were putting the movie together, it is also really good in Secret of My Success as well. When they were putting Ferris Bueller together, apparently, according to this book, the editor put it in as a placeholder because they really liked that song from Secret of My Success
Huh.
until they figured out what they were going to put in there. John Hughes said, nope, love it, staying just the way it is. So even though another movie just did it, they kept it and used it as well. And I don't know what song you could have put in there that would have been better
Yeah, exactly.
for that sequence because it fits both films absolutely perfectly. So I always thought that's another one
That's
of those you can't replace it. You just can't do it.
right.
My next one, you're done, right?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I'm not talking over you. Is Pirates of the Caribbean, The
Excellent
Curse
choice.
of the Black Pearl. I love the soundtracks to all of these movies. And the beat, it's interesting. We watched another film recently. Was it The Rock? Something. And you can hear Pirates of the Caribbean in this other movie. There's actually one sequence where it goes into the dun 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 dun, dun and I'm like, and then they moved on. And it was something they really liked that theme, and they're like, man, we got to do something more than just put this in a small little theme. I don't know if that was the movie or not, but it was something I saw recently, and I was like, man, that is Pirates of the Caribbean. And then Along Comes Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's one of those that I have on my playlist when I'm driving around and this thing comes on, and it doesn't matter if it's the slow dun 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 dun, or where they're really in a battle. All of the songs in here are very well done. All the sequels, they have different versions of it. So sometimes, if they come out, I'll try to get, the remixes just to hear it a different way. But
Right.
this is one of the more modern themes, even though it's old, that really sticks with me because a lot of movies now, I couldn't tell you how that song goes at all. Like
Right.
even when we had Batman, Batman, and then we went into Tim Burton's Batman, and then that had a great theme. I could not tell you at all how the theme to the new Batman movies are. The Batman. I couldn't tell you how the theme to Batman versus Superman goes. I have no clue how any of these
Yeah.
themes are today. It just seems like they all just blend together. But this, I think, was one of the last really good themes that I can hum. And this is another one of those concerts that they performed where they replaced the music. So that was exceptional. So
Isn't
Pirates
that
of the Caribbean.
Hans Zimmer?
I think Hans Zimmer did the sequel. Originally, I had it written down even. It's Klaus. Oh my God. I, I, I think Hans Zimmer did a version of it in one of the sequels or multiple sequels, but it originally was by.
I'm trying to
Let
read
me,
it off your picture.
yeah, I can't. Let me see. I need to move that. Klaus Badel.
Hmm.
It's
Never.
Badelt. But yeah, but I'm pretty sure the sequels had Hans Zimmer.
Well, while you're looking at it, I'm going to throw this out about Hans Zimmer. He's a great composer, but one of his things that I really personally love is in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man's fighting Electro, and it's like a pinball battle, but just the music, it's so different, and I mean, it's another one of those ones that just electric. It gets you pumping.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer took over on the second one.
All right.
Yeah, so the first one, Klaus Badel, second one, Hans Zimmer. So edit
Well, he
that in,
can't take
however.
credit for the theme.
No, he didn't make it.
That is
At
one.
least not according to, maybe there's more history to it.
Yeah, maybe. When I listen to when I'm listening to Amazon Music, and I just feel like soundtracks. I don't have a playlist of soundtracks, but I'll tell it to Alexa, play soundtracks.
Hmm.
This one always comes up. This is one of the stellar ones that comes up. You always get Jurassic Park theme, Star Wars. You always get that in there, but Pirates of the Caribbean always pops up. Great soundtrack. Good choice. Good choice.
Hmm. Thank you.
My next one. Speaking of movies, you talked about how you would go to see a movie and it had the orchestra playing it. Stacy and
Hmm.
I had the opportunity last year or the year before to go up by Cleveland, which is about a 3 or 4 hour drive, and watch the movie Demons with the band that did the music for it, which is
Oh, that's
Italian.
cool.
It's an Italian movie. The band is Italian. It was Claudio Simonetti, or Goblin is the name of his band, but they were playing all of their parts in the movie. And when they weren't playing, you were watching the movie. It's really fucking cool.
That's cool.
That adds. It's a great soundtrack to begin with. Would you put it on your top 10, top five? Most people probably not, but I have to say, because I had the opportunity to see him play it live, it's definitely one of my favorites because that was a hell of a great experience. I can't watch the movie now without thinking, and we've seen it in an old time theater, the
Yeah.
kind that had the balconies and shit.
Yeah, we saw there's a really old theater in El Paso that Cary Grant used to go to watch movies. And it had been closed for a long time, and they renovated it. And when they brought it back, they also had a pipe organ in there.
Oh,
And when for Halloween night one year, they showed the original Nosferatu, which was silent, and then they at one point because it was released silent, then they used to start having performers do a soundtrack to it while it was playing, and then they added a soundtrack to it later. So they put the silent version up, but then had somebody do the pipe organ soundtrack to it. And that place was packed. I mean, and we were in the balcony. That was the thing. We were like, "Oh, I'm going to the balcony," and we were watching it up there. We're like, "Oh, this is cool." So
hell
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that those are experiences that if you have the opportunity to take them because
definitely.
it
When
gives you
we
a whole
went to
different
see
feel.
the, I'm sorry, when we went to see Claudio and Demons, they had an old pipe organ, and we were trying so hard to get because he's seen it. And he was like, "Ooh, look at that!" I mean, he was so impressed by this damn thing, and we were trying as a crowd to get him to go down and play it. He wanted to, but then he's like, "No, not gonna fuck it up."
Yeah, yeah. Better not touch. You never know.
What you
Who's
got?
next? Uh, This is a movie we discussed before, but we didn't really talk about the soundtrack. I'm doing the obvious ones. You're doing ones that people can look up and actually experience maybe for the first time. And I'm talking about movies that you've already know.
Well, Terminator 2 is not anyone.
That's true. That's true. Terminator 2 is not one. You know what's funny about Terminator 2? I used to work in a student union building. And I was in this like a square damn box of an office, and right above me was a uh, dance studio area. And I
Okay.
don't think it wasn't supposed to be a dance studio. It was a ballroom. That's what it was. But we had every year mariachis that were performed. So for 2 days they would up there and they would perform, but they had this little dance step. And the clogs went dun 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 dun. And I'm sitting there like, it's the freaking Terminator thing. I'm sitting there for two, and it would echo in my office because it was a little square.
Right.
And I had, by the end of day one, I had such a freaking migraine because it was the same move all
Oh my
day
God.
long. It was the theme from Terminator. Oh, so day two, I came in with headphones and music. I'm like, I'm doing whatever I can to drown this out. So as much as I like the Terminator 2 theme, having people, and I'm like, what are they dancing that could possibly sound like the Terminator theme? It was the exact same beat.
All
So
right.
my
At
next
that point,
one,
I might not like the soundtrack very much.
yeah, yeah, that's a good way of killing it for somebody. Indiana Jones, of course, everybody knows the Raiders March. Dun, 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 dun. Fantastic soundtrack. But one improvement was in the prequel, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. They threw in some new songs. Uh, it's got a mixture throughout. The finale and end credits is one of my absolute favorite scores of all time. I have listened to it countless times between listening to it in my car and watching it in the movie itself. Um, Everybody, all the characters have a theme. Short Run's got a theme. Everybody's got a theme in this, and it just works for the movie so well. In fact, Steven Spielberg in an interview mentioned how he re-edited the scene with Short Round where he's going up on the little conveyor thing with the water, and he's punching out the kid,
Yeah.
and I guess that somewhere throughout that whole sequence, they had the soundtrack made, and he liked it, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to re-edit it to that. So they made the song, the music for the scene, but then he liked it enough to say, you know what, we're going to tweak the scene a little bit more because I think I can. The
Wow.
music will benefit even more from the way it is. So it's like back and forth. Um, so yeah, that is just one of those movies where I think John Williams, upped himself because it's hard when you're making such iconic themes in the first place, and then figuring out how to go another level higher. And I believe he did that with Temple of Doom. Yours,
That was a good one.
yeah,
John Williams is a great composer. He did
yeah, John
Jaws,
Williams,
right?
yeah, he did Jaws and Star Wars and Jurassic and
He's iconic.
yeah, he to me he's the guy. I'm amazing how many times I'll watch the Academy Awards and it goes to somebody else. And I'm like, I'm sure that soundtrack is very good, but I can't hum it. I can't remember it. I saw the movie, then nothing about it stood out. But with a John Williams song, I always like, okay, there's so many of them that are so, iconic. Another one that stands out to me is the one for 50 to 1, which was that little tiny
Yeah.
independent movie I did as a stand-in, and it had a soundtrack, and I'm like, okay, and I listened to it, and every track was distinctively different than the other song. None of them
Right.
sounded like okay, we're making this low budget movie, so here's a theme, and we're just going to repeat this theme for 12 tracks different ways. None of those songs sound the same at all. And they're fun and they're playful and they're adventurous and they get you excited. And I listen to that as much as I listen to the other songs.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, this is really, really good. And this is one I'm like, okay, this is the type of thing that should be winning awards. Whereas I try to get the soundtrack for all the movies I'm in, regardless, just because I listen to it, it reminds me of the movie. But I have the soundtrack to Only the Brave and Love and Death, and those are very good soundtracks for the movie. It's very, it's mysterious or it's intense, but it's, in long, stretched out notes that is really good for a drama movie. But when you're driving in the car trying to stay awake for hours, you're like, this is not working for me, because it's
Right.
not, these are not, these aren't disco hits. These are, trying to explain somebody just got murdered or, these people are, in danger for their lives. And it's interesting when you pull the music out of the movie, how not only the music can make a movie, but do they stand up outside of a movie? And it's difficult you know,
Right.
to really get excited about a soundtrack sometimes when the source material doesn't lend itself for frivolity.
Right.
Um, but yeah, John Williams though he nails it almost every single time. So and he still does it.
Yeah.
So
Jerry Goldsmith is another good one.
oh yeah.
And he surprises me because when I was doing a lot of before this show, I had Chetty and Lycan's Horror Party Massacre with my wife.
Hmm.
We've kind of, I don't know, sent that one off to college or something, abandoned it, whatever.
I was gonna ask you if you're still doing that because I haven't seen anything new lately.
No, we've kind of given up on it. It was turning into too much of a task.
Is she
But
pissed
one
at
of the
me
things
now?
we would do with that is when I filmed convention stuff, I would find music to have in the background for when I'm just walking the floor and showing different
Mhm.
vendors. And I would think of horror movies that, oh, hey, this would be a good one to put some of the score in for. And I'd look it up, and son of a bitch, it's by Jerry Goldsmith. I'm like, I know I'll get dinged for that shit.
Yep.
And it's amazing some of the stuff that he's done that I wouldn't even think. And I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. But I'm like, really? He did that?
Hmm.
Or like Brad Fidel. He's another great one that he's in some obscure horror movies. And I'm like, what the fuck? All right. And now I have one more to lay on you. You would think I would go with the John Carpenter film because all of his shit is fucking awesome. But John
I
Carpenter's
thought
too easy.
I thought Halloween for sure. I thought he's going to do Halloween. That's going to be his number one, and you're not even going to address it. I am shocked.
No, John Carpenter's too easy. It's a given. You could pick any of his movies. You could pick Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, Ghost of Mars. God, that one's killer. Mouth of Madness, The Fog, The Thing. It's just too easy. I love all of his shit. So I'm going to go with a different one. This one is a very odd one. It's a quirky one. Ravenous. You ever seen the movie Ravenous, Kyle?
I have not seen the movie Ravenous.
It's a Wendigo movie that takes place in the Civil War. It's got David Arquette's got a part in it. I can't remember the other two main actors, but the music is so fucking weird and quirky. It's like it's like it was done during that era. I'm trying to think. I can't even fucking.
Bing, 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 bing.
Kinda. Only more. I don't know. There's just something about the soundtrack or the score that is just. It's haunting. It really puts you in that time zone, in that era, with the way the music is. It's just really good. I really like it. I had the soundtrack when I was after I seen the movie on CD. I don't anymore because I mean I don't even have a fucking CD player for fuck's sake. um, but I will revisit that, and I that's another soundtrack that I can listen to from beginning to end and not want to turn it off at all. You ought
This
to
is
just
why
turn it on, YouTube it, Amazon. I don't even know if it's on Amazon, but Ravenous main theme, and you will hear just you'll be, what the fuck is this? I
this is
like it.
why you and I are so good at doing this show together because we have so little crossover. Because I do the obvious shit, which if you watched top scores on probably 100 lists, I'm gonna have the same damn songs as everybody else. And then you come in here and you actually give people something new, which I'm gonna talk about still again in just a minute because we got the rest of the thing.
Oh
All
boy,
right, my
I'm
final
scared
one.
about that one.
My final one, of course, it was going to have to be in the Star
Star
Wars
Wars.
universe, but not the first one,
Oh,
the second one.
Empire.
Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Not only do we debut the Imperial March, but you've got the Millennium Falcon flying through the asteroid field, Bespin, you've got all these different areas that the music lends himself and really boosts the soundtrack. I absolutely love this particular soundtrack. It's got more of a variety than the original, although the original still holds up today. The original, there's so many different
Yeah.
tunes from that as well. Not to mention, the cantina scene and all that. The third film, Return of the Jedi, also had two, a variety, different soundtracks because they changed the music in two different parts from uh, and I like both soundtracks. I like both versions of that as well. But I think Empire Strikes Back really is the one that holds up. It's got the best music combination. I did like Revenge of the Sith because that one pulls some songs in from all of the six movies at that point. So that's got a good mix of them. And then Solo, a Star Wars story, also has a track that picks the best of some elements from the various films as well, especially in anything aboard the Millennium Falcon while it's doing the Kessel Run. So that one's got one track that is just kick ass as well. So either of those soundtracks, I think, outshine the others in the entire series. But um, Star Wars is not only a theme that resonates after all these years, I think that may be the reason why the Roaring Twenties restaurant died. Because
What?
there used to be a restaurant called Roaring Twenties. We had one that was right next to the Meridian Mall in Meridian Township, Okemos, Michigan. And it was a pizza place like um, Chuck E. Cheese was, which was directly across the street. And this huge pipe organ would come out of the floor and they would play all these themes in its roaring 20s. So it's supposed to be like the 20s, but they would
Right.
take requests. So people would request, more modern songs. Once Star Wars came out, everybody always requested the Star Wars theme. So they would play the Star Wars theme over and over and over and over. And I loved it. And I'm sure all of us kids loved it. The parents who were bringing us there, I would imagine, got sick of it because they're like, this is not why we come to this place, other than maybe to keep their kids quiet. And then Roaring Twenties closed shortly after that. So I've always wondered if that had anything to do with it because I remember it being, every time I got there, the first thing I did was go up and write Star Wars name, put up a piece of paper and request it. So I don't know if that's what killed it or not, but I always thought maybe that was a contributor to it because it no longer was what, and they could have stopped it. They could have said, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. And then
Right.
kids would say, well, I don't want to come anymore. So that's why they were coming. I would be happy with a place that did all movie soundtracks. If they did all the ones we just mentioned, that would be an awesome place to go to. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's that'll be our next Indiegogo. We'll put that together, and we'll open up our own restaurant chain around the country. So
There you go.
make that happen.
That your story about them playing Star Wars over and over, it reminds me of this comedian. I can't remember for the life of me what the comedian's name is, but I heard him on Amazon Prime, and he
Okay.
tells a story about him and his buddy going into this diner that had a jukebox. And the songs were like a dime a piece or a quarter a piece. And as a prank, they went in there and loaded up like $5 worth of "What's New, Pussycat?" Whoa, whoa, whoa. And it is the funniest fucking bit I've heard in a long time. It's hilarious. I can't
Really,
remember who the hell it was.
that actually reminds me of something else. We were just talking about how there's certain movies that can't be produced today. There's certain jokes you can't say today. Well, there's one comedian that can turn that on its ass.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him, Jimmy Carr, he
Mhm.
has a variety of specials on Netflix. I just watched there's one called Greatest Hits, there's one called Natural Born Killer. Just watched those back to back. Oh my God.
He's fucking funny.
The shit he says is is inappropriate on a whole new level and funny as hell. He knows how to do it. He knows because you're not supposed to say it, I'm going to say it.
Right.
And there's going to be people, you can say anything and someone's going to take offense to it one way or the other. I'm sure there's something you and I said today that somebody's going to take offense for that would be like that, so if you're going to offend somebody, you might as well go big. So Jimmy Carr, and he was in San Antonio, and I should have saw him. He actually hosted one of the LOLs on Amazon, where you have a whole bunch of comedians in a room, and they've got 3 hours to make each other laugh, which is another hysterical thing to say. Check that out. I think he hosts probably the best one of the bunch. Um, but it's his comedy shows are insane because we had watched a few lately because I really like Dave Chappelle, I really like Ricky Gervais. We watched both of those, and they're getting to the point because they spend a lot of time saying these are the communities that we offend, and here's why it's okay. And I'm like, okay, you explain this every single time now.
Yeah.
So we've kind of pulled away from the jokes for an explanation. I'm like, if you have to keep explaining it, it's not that funny anymore.
No.
He does a little bit, Jimmy Carr, in which he'll say, okay, this was a little test. So if you were offended by that, it's going to be a long night for you because here's my next one. And he jumps into it, and you're like, oh my God.
He gives
And
some shit.
yeah, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And I was sitting there like, okay. And it was just nice because I'd seen a lot of back to back comedy specials that I just hadn't laughed at. I'm like, it's not like, the 80s. I mean, when we had, Robin Williams' Night at the Met, and the Dice Man Cometh, and and uh, George Carlin, What Am I Doing in New Jersey? There was so many of these bits, and then before that, Richard Pryor was huge, and we're getting into the Eddie Murphy era,
Yeah.
and it just seems like now it feels like it's been dying off. And then you stumble onto a Jimmy Carr and you realize, nope, we're fine. I just got to make sure I'm watching the right specials. And even Gervais and Chappelle, there's been a couple of their shows that I died laughing at, just died. It feels like it's starting to get repetitive. And I think that's the way with a lot of comedians. I don't think there's any comedian I have ever watched everything and said, boy, that's funny. Because I'll watch one Robin Williams special. I think A Night at the Met is probably, an Evening at the Met is probably one of the best specials I've ever seen. That one was really good. I remember Bill Cosby himself being
Oh God.
just killer.
I gotta tell you, I gotta interrupt you. Bill
Okay.
Cosby himself. When Stacy moved down to Florida, I was living in Florida. She moved down from Cincinnati. My brother was living with us. And there was one night that I wake up from a dead sleep and I hear her bawling. I mean, bawling. I'm
Really?
like, what the fuck is going on? I get up and I go to my door and I open the door. At the same time, my brother opens his door because he heard it too. And
Mhm.
we both stick our heads out. She's not bawling. She's laughing at Bill Cosby himself. And it sounded like she was fucking crying her head off. And I'm like, what are you doing? Is it fun? Is it funny? I'm like, I'm going back to fucking bed. I,
But Dad, I'm Jesus Christ. I it is such a shame what happened with that scenario. Because yeah, that was, and I saw him in concert. I mean, he's just so good.
he's great. I saw
Oh
you so.
yeah, and that can't tell you how sad that all became.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was, yeah, it's just it felt for a while that we weren't there anymore, but they're still out there. We just got to find them. And there's so many. There's so many comics
yeah,
that I think that's part of it. It's you got to sort through a whole bunch of crap before you find somebody that can really laugh. Dave Attell, I was driving around and he was on Sirius XM, and it was late at night, and my wife and I were going somewhere, and we were listening just to stay awake because we had about another hour drive. And I was laughing so hard at Dave Attell because he's another one that'll say the most inappropriate stuff.
yeah.
And I've got tears running down my face because this guy is so freaking funny. And so, yeah, it's. I still think there's a lot of stuff you can get away with. You just got to be smart about it. And
Right.
I'd rather you say something inappropriate that you would never do in your life than do something inappropriate like Bill Cosby did.
I'd never say
That,
anything about it.
yeah, yeah, I never say anything about it. So if you're going to do one or the other, make a joke because it's something you would not do. That's funny. When you go ahead and frickin' do something, now I have a problem. So that's where the line should be. Say whatever the hell you want, just don't actually frickin' do it. So anyway, the thing that, because we always say, he'll bring up something, I'll say, oh, I got to watch that. And I'll bring something, and you say, oh, I got to watch that. And then we never actually do it.
Not really. I
So
want
finally,
to.
so I finally did. I'm like, I had time because I found out I had some extra days off while I was not feeling good anyway. So I'm like, okay, we're going to sit there and we're going to watch a show. So I went to the library and I got a copy of Noises Off, and I brought that sucker home because John told me how freaking funny Noises Off is.
Are you serious?
So we started playing it. And we're like, okay, look at all of the Carol Burnett is on here. We got Superman on here. Julie Haggerty is on. Everybody is on here. This thing is gonna be drop dead funny. We're sitting there and like 10 minutes, and we're like, hold on. It's going to get better. Trust me. 20 minutes. Not getting any funnier.
Oh,
I'm
come
like,
on.
okay. And in 30 minutes, we're like, okay, what else is on? So we took it out and watched something else.
Oh.
I could have swore that was going to be huge. And I think something clicked with me. I think I figured out the problem. Because I keep saying how, I like ensemble casts, but I discovered I like them in television shows. I like Taxi. I like WKRP. I like Cheers. Ensemble casts that have multiple stories to tell so you can delve into each character individually. But when you get a huge ensemble cast, like you do this for Noises Off or Clue or any of these other ones where we throw a whole bunch of people in, you don't have enough time to focus on each character. So instead of there being any really character development of any kind, it's just, okay, we're going to do just really silly things for 2 hours. And if those silly things don't, watching a plate of sardines move around didn't do it for me. So I look at the reviews and people are, oh my God, this is so hysterical. And I'm like, well, maybe the play was hysterical. Maybe, again, because there's a Clue play. And I'm like, okay, there was a Noises Off play. Maybe that was funny. And then you throw all the big names into it all of a sudden, you're like, well, this is funny for a whole bunch of non-names, but having a whole bunch of names in it, why isn't it funnier? So I and my wife, neither of us could get through 30 minutes of Noises Off.
I'm so disappointed. I wonder when I made my mother-in-law and Stacy watch that movie, I wonder if they were just being nice. They said, "Oh, it was
She,
good."
she in the hallway holler right now. Say, hey,
It was so funny.
I am shocked that you liked it. If anybody I know wouldn't have liked it, it seems like it would have been you. It really, really shocks me that you actually was the one that liked it.
It's a good movie. It's
Okay,
funny.
okay. We got a couple questions. One, when was the last time you saw it?
Recently, within the last 4 years, three
Okay,
years, because I
and
made Stacy and her mother watch it.
all right. And what was the funniest thing about it?
I don't remember because there's so much.
There you go. You
It's
can't
hard to
even.
pick one thing. I just
You sure it was
remember,
called Noises Off? I had the right movie, right? Carol
yes,
Burnett, Christopher
noise is off.
Reeve.
Yeah,
All right, well, I wanted to so bad.
I think your funny was broke that night.
I went to the library. Well, I was sick, but my wife wasn't. I don't know.
I think maybe that night that you guys watched that, you probably should have watched like I Spit on Your Grave or something. I think that would have been more attuned to the mindset of that evening.
Maybe, maybe. But I was even talking to my. But it was funny. I was talking to my wife. And I'm like, I got one more episode. I want to bring up that show we watched. What was it? And she's like, I can't remember. I was like, it was going. My noise is off. She goes, what's that? I'm like, the one that we watched. Carol Burnett, Christopher Reeve, the sardines. Oh yeah. Oh, that wasn't very good. Like, yeah, I know. And maybe the real laughs were in the second half, but we didn't get that far. And I wanted to, but I'm like, man, life's too short. I got
You
something
can't win them
funnier.
all.
You can't.
You can't.
That's why there's something for everybody. That,
Exactly.
that's again why we're on here. You and
That's
I
what we
couldn't have.
present.
That's right. It's if you and I agree on something, it's got to be pretty good, because you and I pretty much have completely different ideas on what we're going to listen to, watch, whatever. So anyway, I believe that wraps up our 4 score and 8 total motion picture scores. Coming up in the weeks ahead, we're going to have our Best blockbuster bombs of
Bob.
all bombs, movies that didn't do well that we thought you should give a second look to. In fact, actually, one of them I'm not necessarily going to say is one of the best ones. I just happen to be affiliated with it and know something about the behind the scenes that may have contributed to why not only it bombed, but another movie bombed that stemmed from that other film. So it may not be a complete total list, but it will be educational and hopefully tell you something you didn't already know.
Educational?
Educational.
Is that us? Are we going to do an educational movie
It's
episode?
gonna be an after school special. It's gonna.
I'll tell you right now, I'll review Follow That Bird.
I haven't seen Follow That Bird and since it came out. I saw it.
I
Did you
saw
see it?
same here.
Yeah, I saw it.
That's one we ought to do the best puppet movies.
All right.
You got the Muppet movies, you
I
got the
love the
Sesame
Muppet
Street
movies.
movie, you
I
got
love this.
Puppet Master
That's true.
with the dolls. You got the Puppet Master with Donald Sutherland. Wasn't he in a Puppet Master?
I don't remember. Was he? Donald Sutherland? Maybe. He could have been.
Yeah, but it wasn't like puppets at all. It was like fuck, like aliens or something. It was Richard Heinlein or
That's
Heineken.
completely different. Donald Sutherland was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's kind of alienish.
No, it wasn't that. It was called the Puppet Masters.
All right. Well, no, I know there's a puppet. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that's
You know which
okay.
one I'm talking about now?
Yeah, I think I know what you're
Has like a red cover
talking
or
about.
red on the cover or some color on the cover.
So we've got best box office bombs and puppet pictures. Best puppet pictures. Well, best puppet motion pictures.
Team America.
Okay, I get it. There's plenty to choose from. I'm, I'm
Absolutely.
I'm on board. How many apiece? Two?
Two, definitely two.
Two? Okay, two.
I don't know that there's that many. That we can
All
come up
right.
with 8 different ones.
I've got an obscure one. So, all right. Well, maybe three. Maybe three apiece.
All right.
All right.
3
Can they
piece.
be from the same franchise?
My 3 is part 1, 2, and 3.
Why not?
What the fuck?
We can do whatever we want. It's our show.
Yeah, damn
That's the
right.
bonus. That's the bonus of not having any producers outside of ourselves.
Mhm.
We can do whatever. So I'm watching Hot Ones, and they had a behind the scenes thing. First We Feast has another show, and that show went behind the scenes of Hot Ones. First of all, it's season 29, not 30. I said 30, so my bad. But
Way to go.
there's a whole staff of people on that show. I thought it was like a little thing. I thought it was him, maybe a camera guy, a couple camera guys, a couple people doing research. They've got like a whole building
Really?
researchers and people that are making new hot sauces and all kinds of stuff. So, they're definitely more legit than we'll ever be. So so anyway, I think it's time to wrap up this particular episode.
I think it is.
For more fun and frivolity, check out our Facebook page. We're at fb.com/in the spotlight. For John Horton, I'm Kyle Pierson. Thank you for watching the In the Spotlight web series and for listening to the Attack of the Spotlight podcast. Thanks so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Enjoy the juvenility.